Hi everybody, my name is Barry Schwartz and this is the SearchBuzz video recap. Today is Friday, January 5th, 2018, and this is the first SearchBuzz video recap since the new year. So thanks for everybody for listening, and obviously those watching live as well, and those watching on the podcast later on. First up, I posted the big January 2018 Google Webmaster Report. Specifically, this was probably the busiest December I can remember in the SEO history since I've been covering this for almost 15 years now. There was obviously Google updates, confirmed ones, and Google called them minor and many, specifically things like the Maccabee updates, this PBN penalty type of thing going on, knowledge graph changes, celebrity sites being hit. We also saw Google release a whole year's worth plus of data for Search Console. Voice quality, search quality rater guidelines were released this month. There was a new SEO starter guide that was pushed out by Google. Google finally gave official advice around the mobile first index. They extended their search results snippets drastically. They released a new rich testing tool. A lot more. It was just a lot of stuff going on. And with all that, Eric Schmidt, the CEO of Google, now the executive chairman, is stepping down from that role. So a lot has gone on this past month in SEO and the webmaster world around Google. It was probably the busiest December in Google's history. Usually Decembers are quiet months and so forth, and it was just interesting to see. And Almo, thanks for the comment about the hair. People say at least I have hair, so that's a good thing. Obviously I'm gray, and I do need a haircut, so I'll do that one day. So I appreciate the live comments as well. Talking about the Google Assistant and voice search, as I mentioned, Google actually went ahead and released their, I guess, quality raters, search quality raters guidelines for Google Assistant and voice search related stuff. So we have the quality rater guidelines for web search and mobile search, but now we have the quality raters guidelines, which is a like 7-page PDF, nothing really big, on how these quality raters can rate the usefulness, I guess, of the voice search responses used from Google Assistant. And Google broke them down into these 4 dimensions: information satisfaction, the length of the information, the formulation, and how it's spoken, how it's actually spoken, if it makes sense, and so forth. So definitely take a look at that. Voice search and Google Assistant is going to be fairly important and fairly big going forward. So it's very interesting to see Google release those guidelines that kind of helps us as SEOs and webmasters figure out what's going on. Google is trying a new I guess treatment or user experience specifically around the feature snippets. So if you do a search for top online marketers in Google, and I was able to replicate this, you get this new experience. It starts with according to entrepreneurs, and I forgot to actually put this here, so you're probably not even hearing me. That was dumb. Anyway, you probably hear me better now. I'm not going to start again. But basically, Google has this new according to thing right at the top, which is kind of how Google Assistant actually responds to things, saying according to blah, blah, blah. And then they have these like icons of these online marketers. You click on them, you get more information about their feature snippets and their knowledge graph entities. And then it has the article information. So it's pretty interesting to see this. You're able to replicate this on some other versions of this, but it's not coming up for every knowledge graph or every feature snippet result. So it's pretty interesting to see that. Googlebot. So there's been these like rumors in the SEO industry for years and years that Google will make up their own URLs to try to find and discover more URLs on the web. And John Mueller said generally Google doesn't do that. And kind of when John says generally, it means like never. But you know, some people say, oh, he said generally, so it means they do this, but they don't do it often. It's pretty interesting to see. You can take it both ways, but basically John Mueller said, and I'll quote him, in general, Googlebot doesn't make up URLs, so if they were found and it's not in your sitemap, it's likely that they were linked to from somewhere within your website, or it's also possible that those links were removed. So again, Googlebot doesn't generally make up URLs. Google's been telling us regarding the mobile first index that your site should be equivalent. Navigation, links, structured data, content, etc., should all be equivalent from the mobile experience to the desktop experience and desktop experience to the mobile experience. But it doesn't have to be, John Mueller said. And somebody asked him, mobile first index, the internal link structure for mobile sites should be the same like the desktop. And John Mueller said it doesn't need to be the same, but it should be crawlable. At least, obviously, your mobile site should be crawlable, of course, but you do want to try to make them equivalent. John Mueller also said that having too many subfolders in your URL structure, your site architecture, is not a bad thing as long as you're linking to that content. Again, it's kind of like a site architecture question. Subfolders is an old SEO question I wouldn't worry about too much. But again, having too many URL structures or subfolders or longer URLs and deeper content doesn't really hurt you as long as that content is linked to and crawlable by Google. Google, this is interesting. So sometimes you find these weird keywords that come up in the Google Search Console Search Analytics report, and somebody complained about that. Why am I showing up for like Yahoo in my Search Analytics report? And John Mueller said, obviously you can filter down by country, see where those results are coming from, country-specific stuff. So you don't see it in Google.com USA. You might see it in Google.co.uk in London or something like that, and so forth. Other things that might be around device-specific stuff, but also Google said that sometimes your images might show up in the feature snippets and the knowledge graph when you're not necessarily the main result. You might be the image result, and because of that, you do have that information in the Search Analytics report. So that was an interesting thing that I never thought about before, which is interesting. Google Express is now promoting their stuff way, way more. Google's trying this new experiment where they're actually saying if there are Google Express items in the new ad format, in this search carousel, so you see there's a Google Express item in this Google ad for shopping result, Google's testing this big banner at the top. Get it with Google Express. And I kind of find it a little bit too much, and it's really ungoogly for Google to do that, but yet they are testing that. So it's very interesting to see that. What's also interesting is that if you try to do image searches to say, find me pictures of cats from before April 2008, Google will say, no cats found before April 2008. It's not just cats, it's anything. For some reason, maybe it's around metadata. We're not really sure. Maybe it's a bug. I haven't tested it since, but it is an interesting bug why you can't find images before that date range. Google AdSense publishers are complaining about their ads not displaying a lot. Some publishers are complaining that their revenue is down about 70% in that time period. Some publishers are saying their ads are not showing at all. Some publishers are saying that they're only showing about 30% of the time. So if you are a publisher, there are a lot of complaints. Google has not responded to anybody in their complaints about this recently, so hopefully we'll get a Google response from them. Haven't been to Yahoo Search in a while, but if you do go there, and you do a search, you'll find lots and lots and lots of ads. In fact, you'll see 5 ads above the organic results, as you can see here, and tons of ads on the right-hand side, and you have to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling to get the organic listings. That should come no surprise because Ask Jeeves did the same thing when they were kind of like gave up on their search as well. And Danny Sullivan, who's now at Google, went ahead and struck back at somebody who called him working at Google a way for Google to kind of quiet Danny from actually reporting on bad things around Google. They said Danny Sullivan, a journalist who was so effective at reporting on Google that the company hired him away to keep him quiet. My personal theory. Danny Sullivan didn't like that. He said, I think this person who writes, some of the best stuff on search for Outline. Serious Deep covers quality issues. You should read her. But on this specific thing, she's 180 degrees off. You expect me to say this. I should address it. And basically he goes on, Google didn't hire me to keep me quiet. After 21 years, I retired. I quitted myself. I had written everything I felt I could write about search. I was done. I didn't know what I wanted to do next, just something different, as I wrote. Google actually gave me a voice in search. Seriously, I'd be blogging about Star Wars, Star Trek, or something else right now, but Google wanted me to bring a public voice, do better internally, and help them better communicate externally. My past too much of what I learned, blah, blah, blah. And FYI, I don't work for Google PR. I work for Google Search. Google wanted me embedded like that because the goal really is to be more transparent and help assist in tackling issues in a different way. Looking forward to doing that in 2018. Again, Danny Sullivan took issue with that. I don't blame him for doing so, and I'm glad that he stood up for himself and so forth. We're very excited to see what happens in 2018. And finally, we did 4 Search Community Honors posts this week because obviously New Year's and so forth. So Will Reynolds, Pamela Lund, Ross Hudgens, and Elizabeth from the Search Engine Land team. So thank you. We honor you. We thank you for everything you've done in the search industry, and we appreciate it. In any event, thanks so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. I'm sorry for the audio issues. I'll see if I can up that on the recorded version. And I appreciate everybody's time and effort this week. Everyone have a great weekend. Again, today is January 5th, 2018. That's the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable, seroundtable.com over the past week. Everyone have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next. Bye.